Right friends, welcome back to second session of policies and programs of Government of India. In the first session, we discussed about Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana and Atal Pension Yojana. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about Mahatma Gandhi NREGA or right to work you can call. The second important thing is the National Food Security Act. Third one is the Right to Education Act and National Pay Commission. We are going to discuss these four issues in this module. Let us look at the first one, Mahatma Gandhi NREGA, National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Loosely it is known as Right to Work. Some people call it Right to Work. This is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. This act was brought in the year 2005. To be specific, it is dated 5th September 2005 and this act was brought with an intention to create employment to the masses of this country in rural areas. That means to create 100 days of assured employment for all the adult citizens in rural areas. Let me explain once again. As per this act, as per Mahatma Gandhi NREGA Act, please don't forget, initially this act was known as National Rural Employment Guarantee Act or NREGA. Subsequently, Mahatma Gandhi was added to this act. That means subsequently it became Mahatma Gandhi NREGA or MGNREGA, and as per this act guarantees all adult members of a family residing in rural areas and willing to do manual labor. Please don't forget, this is applicable for rural areas. All adult members above 18 years of age, whoever are willing to do manual labor, are entitled for 100 days of manual work. And other important point is, after giving the application, he or she should get employment within 15 days. He or she should get employment within 15 days. This is another condition. If the state is not able to give employment within 15 days, they are eligible for daily unemployment allowance. And other important point is, minimum wages to be given should be as per Minimum Wages Act of 1948, applicable for agricultural labourers. Whatever the minimum wages applicable for agricultural labourers, that are to be given to the 100 days of employment each day. The other important aspect is they should get within a radius of 5 kilometers from the village. Employment should be within 5 kilometers of the village. If they are not able to get employment within 5 kilometers, they should be paid 10% extra. If they are not able to get within 5 kilometers, they have to pay, government has to pay 10% extra. The other important aspect as per Mahatma Gandhi NREGA is the labor component should be minimum 60%. Labor component should be minimum 60%. That means, if I say in other terms, that is material component should not exceed 40%. If government is spending 100 crores of rupees, at least 60 crores should go for wages in rural areas. Whatever work they take up, 60% should be for manual labor and the material component should not exceed 40%. I have already told you it should be within a radius of 5 kilometers from the village, and if it exceeds or if it is beyond 5 kilometers, government has to pay 10% extra than minimum wages. And one more important aspect is the works to be taken up under priority are listed out in the Act itself. You can look into this PPT. The priority of works to be taken up, that is listed in the Act itself. First and the foremost priority is water conservation and water harvesting. Water conservation as well as water harvesting. The second important aspect is the drought proofing works, including afforestation. Third one is creating irrigation facilities. Fourth one is irrigation facilities for the land owned by SCs and STs. Fifth one is desilting of tanks. In these priority, works are to be taken up in rural areas. And by taking up these type of works, government is required to provide at least minimum 100 days of employment for all the adult citizens, whoever are willing to do manual work in rural areas. That is, in a nutshell, Mahatma Gandhi NREGA. This act belongs to 2005 and implemented from February 2006. First time it was implemented in the year 2006 in select districts of the country, and subsequently this was extended to the entire country. There are several pros and cons of this program. Let us discuss what are the pros. What are the advantages of implementing this program? First and foremost thing is livelihood opportunities. That means it guarantees 100 days of wages in rural areas. So that's why it created livelihood opportunities to rural masses. 60% of our agriculture is rain fed. I am talking about rough figures. And all of us are well aware vagaries of monsoon, because of which several suicides are taking place in the country, and under these circumstances implementing this act is definitely saved the rural masses from the vagaries of monsoon. Second important point. Third important point is increase in the rural wages or increase into the hands of rural people resulted in nutritional standards, increase in nutritional standards. And some economists say that inflation during 2010, 2011, 2013 is partly attributed to the increase in purchasing power in rural areas because of Mahatma Gandhi NREGA. So these are the pros. What are the negative points? First and the foremost is, whatever the works they have taken up, the productivity is very less. They are supposed to take up water harvesting works, desilting of tanks, providing irrigation facilities, drought proofing works, including afforestation, but at the ground level, results are not up to the mark. The second important point is, it resulted in sharp increase in agricultural wages. Agriculture suffered badly because it resulted in wage increase in rural areas. Third thing is, rural people became lethargic because they are getting assured wages for 100 days. And the last one is, agriculture is also affected to some extent because of rise in wages as well as people became lethargic. And there are news that the program is getting diluted day by day. The figures for 2014-15 I listed out in this PPT as taken from some newspaper. Only 3% of the workforce got 100 days of employment in 2014-15, and the program, it appears that it is slightly being diluted nowadays. Nevertheless, the budget allotment for this year is 34,699 crores of rupees. 34,699 crores of rupees is allotted in the 2015-16 budget, and the highest allocation was in 2010-11, which was around 40,000 crores of rupees. And Finance Minister stated that he will give another 5,000 crores if required for Mahatma Gandhi NREGA, but in the budget allotment is 34,699 crores of rupees. Having said all these advantages and disadvantages, definitely it created assured employment for rural masses in the country, and it saved millions of people from the vagaries of monsoon. Right friends, we have discussed Mahatma Gandhi NREGA. Second issue, National Food Security Act. This act was brought in the year 2013. Prior to bringing that act, an ordinance was issued and that ordinance came into existence on 5th July 2013. Subsequently, this was ratified through an act of parliament. And as per National Food Security Act, there are several issues. First and the foremost is, this program tries to cover almost 2/3 of the population of the country. That means, almost 2/3 of the population of the country, roughly 66% of the population will get subsidized food grains. And it intends to cover 75% of the population in rural areas, 50% of the population in urban areas. 75% population in rural areas, 50% population in urban areas, and making a total of roughly 2/3 of the population in entire country. The second important thing is, each and every person from identified strata will get 5 kilograms of food grains per month at the subsidized prices. 5 kilograms of food grains per month at subsidized prices. Rice at rupees 3 per kg. Wheat at rupees 2 per kg. Coarse cereals. What is meant by coarse cereals? Ragi, bajra, jawar, maize, these are all coarse cereals. They will get coarse cereals at rupees 1 per kg. And these rates will be applicable for 3 years from the commencement of the act. And subsequently, the rates will be decided by the central government. These rates will be applicable for 3 years from the commencement of the act. And in the year 2000, Antyodaya Anna Yojana was started. Antyodaya Anna Yojana, that means poorest of the poor persons. For them, they will continue to get 35 kgs of food grains per family. Those whoever are identified under Antyodaya Anna Yojana, which was started in the year 2000, they will continue to get 35 kgs of food grains per family. And I would like to tell you few more points. Requirement of food grains to implement this is calculated approximately 60 million tons. This is not yet implemented across the country. The requirement of food grains is 60 million tons estimated to be. Second important point is, the total food grain production in the country is around 250 to 260 million tons. The total food grain production, if you take 2013-14, around 260 million tons. That means 1/4 of the food grains, roughly 1/4 of the food grains produced in the country are required for implementing National Food Security Act. And by implementing this act to 2/3 of the total population, the subsidy burden is expected to be around 1,25,000 crores of rupees. The subsidy burden is expected to be around 1,25,000 crores of rupees. And not only this, it has got so many additional points. I would like to tell these additional points. Every pregnant woman as well as a lactating mother. What is meant by lactating mother? Mother who is feeding the child, that is through breastfeeding, that is lactating mothers. Every pregnant woman and lactating mother entitled to meal free of charge during pregnancy and 6 months after the childbirth. They should get at least 600 calories during this period. From government side, every pregnant woman as well as the lactating mother should get meal free of charge during pregnancy as well as 6 months after the childbirth. They should get at least 600 calories during this period per day. The second important point is maternity benefit should be given, that is not less than rupees 6,000 rupees. Maternity benefit not less than rupees 6,000 rupees. Other important aspect is for children from 6 months to 6 years of age. From 6 months to 6 years of age, appropriate meal is to be provided through Anganwadi centers. And for the children from 6 years to 14 years, they should get at least one meal through midday meal scheme except Sundays and holidays. Right? So these are the additional features, and several state governments have not yet identified the beneficiaries. And state government will be responsible for monitoring and implementation of the scheme, and eldest women of not less than 18 years of age will be given ration card as per this Act. Eldest women of not less than 18 years of age will be given ration card as per this Act. Right? What is the present status? This Act was deemed to have came into existence from 5th July 2013 because it was started by issuing an ordinance, and state governments are required to identify the beneficiaries within 1 year, 1 year past, 1.5 year past. By the end of March 2015, only 11 states or union territories identified the eligible households. We have 36 states or union territories, 29 states and 7 union territories. Out of 36, only 11 states or UTs identified the beneficiaries under National Food Security Act, and Government of India gave time of another 6 months. Government of India gave time up to September end to states who have not complied in identifying the beneficiaries. Right? What are the advantages of this program? The advantages of this program is food grains are assured not only for people below poverty line, but also for middle classes, because 66% of people are proposed to be covered under National Food Security Act. The second important thing is, as our agriculture is rain fed, it will take care of the nutritional requirements of the people in the country, and it eliminates the risks associated with the rain fed agriculture in the country, as the food grains are assured. What are the disadvantages? Several farmers may shift to cash crops because food grains are assured by government at the subsidized prices. They may shift to cash crops, because of which there is ever possibility food grain production may come down. Second thing is, because of this scheme, there is ever possibility of lethargy in youth during the productive age. There are possibilities of leakages. Of course, nowadays they can be eliminated through Aadhaar linkage. Huge subsidy burden on the government. Because of huge subsidy burden, there is ever possibility of fiscal deficit may increase. Fiscal deficit may derail because of huge subsidy burden once this program is implemented across the country. So these are all the disadvantages, and advantage is they will have assured food grains, right? This is yet to be implemented in true letter and spirit across the country, and several states are yet to identify the beneficiaries. That is the present status, and government is planning to reduce the population to be covered by this scheme. As per the original act, 66% of population required to be covered, but Government of India is planning to reduce that coverage. Right friends, look at the next one, Right to Education Act. Before going into the details of Right to Education Act, I would like to tell you, prior to the enactment of Right to Education Act, Constitution 86th Amendment was brought in the year 2002 by the Government of India. In the year 2002, Government of India brought Constitution 86th Amendment Act. As per the 86th Amendment Act, education became fundamental right. What is meant by fundamental right? It is guaranteed by the Constitution, just like freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of practicing your own religion. These are all guaranteed under fundamental rights in the Constitution. Just like these traits, right to education also became fundamental right in the year 2002 due to the enactment of Constitution 86th Amendment Act. The state shall provide free and compulsory education to all the children of the age of 6 to 14 years in such a manner as the state may by law determine. That is the essence of Article 21A, which was added to the Constitution in the year 2002 through amendment of 86 Constitution Amendment Act. And subsequently, as a subsequent legislation, that means to make that Article 21A a reality, Article 21A was brought in the year 2002. To make it a reality, this right of children to free and compulsory education Act 2009 was brought. This act was brought in the year 2009, enacted on 26th August 2009 and implemented from 1st April 2010. So, right to education became a reality with the implementation of Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. Please don't separate these two things. As per Constitution 86th Amendment Act, right to education became fundamental right. So as to ensure it as a fundamental right, government brought in the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009 in the year 2009, and these two are implemented from 1st April 2010. From 1st April 2010, what are the features? Elementary education is now fundamental right. What is elementary education? Elementary education is from class 1 to class 8. Please don't forget, elementary education is from class 1 to class 8. As per the Act, people should have access to class 1 to class 5 within 1 kilometer, class 6 to class 8 within 3 kilometers. That means school should be available from class 1 to class 5 within 1 kilometer and class 6 to class 8 within 3 kilometers. And 6 to 14 years age group must be in school. 6 to 14 years age group must be admitted in school, and center and the state have got concurrent responsibilities in this regard. And now it is the legal obligation to both the central and the state governments to implement this, as it became fundamental right because of 86th Constitutional Amendment. But at the ground level, implementation is not up to the mark. There is lot of improvement, no doubt. But 5 years passed and still some children are out of school in the age group of 6 to 14. Right, friends? Let us look at the last one of this series. The last item of this policies and programs module number 2, that is the Central Pay Commission. What is Central Pay Commission? Central Pay Commission fixes the salaries and allowances of central government employees and pensioners. And this Pay Commission is constituted once in 10 years. That means the pay fixation is done for central government employees as well as the pensioners once in 10 years. The 6th Central Pay Commission recommendations were implemented from 1st January 2006. And 7th Pay Commission was constituted now. Justice Madhur is the chairman of the 7th Pay Commission, and 7th Pay Commission recommendations are to be ensured from 1st January 2016. And government employees or pensioners' pay is fixed once in 10 years, but dearness allowance for employees, dearness relief for retired people are reviewed once in 6 months. All of you are well aware, DA is increased by 6%, DA is increased by 7%. These news are quite familiar to you. What is meant by DA? DA is dearness allowance. That is reviewed once in 6 months. Government notifies once in 6 months. Dearness relief for retired employees, that is also reviewed once in 6 months. So, dearness allowance as well as the dearness relief is reviewed once in 6 months based on consumer price index for industrial workers. Government do these things once in 6 months, but the fixation of pay is done once in 10 years. That means the salary structure of central government employees as well as pensioners is reviewed once in 10 years based on the Central Pay Commission recommendations. But government reviews dearness allowance as well as dearness relief once in 6 months depending on the increase in prices based on CPI IW, that means Consumer Price Index for industrial workers. Right friends? Now 7th Pay Commission, Justice Madhur is heading that, and it is going to give recommendations shortly, and these recommendations are going to be implemented from 1st January 2016. Right friends, with this we will conclude this module of policies and programs of Government of India. Please do join in 3rd module. Have a nice day. Thank you.